Alright, so we had Barbie Shepherd. There she is. Vanguard Spacer War Hero. See, I've clearly played this game a shitload of times from all those saves. Lame, Ryan. See ya, Kami. How was this sign-in changed? Incorrect. Well, hopefully that doesn't happen a second time. Damage, welcome. Let's keep the combat difficulty at veteran. Auto level up is off. Subtitles on. Squad power usage on. Autosave on. Cool. So let's review the decisions we made in Mass Effect 1. We got to level 50. We were a Vanguard. We ended up being Paragon at the end of the game, mostly. Rex survived the mission on Vermeer by overwhelming vote. Ashley Williams was killed on Vermeer. Again, well, this time wasn't overwhelming vote. It was, I think it was outvoted by 2. We saved the council at the end. Those are the big decisions.
Shepard did everything right. More than we could have hoped for. Saving the Citadel, even saving the Council. Humanity has the trust of the entire galaxy. And still, it's not enough.
Our sacrifices have earned the Council's gratitude, but Shepard...
Martin Sheen.
Best hope.
But they're sending her to fight Geth. Geth! We both know they're not the real threat. The Reapers are still out there.
And it's up to us to stop them.
The Council will never trust Cerberus. They'll never accept our help, even after everything humanity has accomplished. But Shepard, they'll follow her. She's a hero, a bloody icon. But she's just one woman. If we lose Shepard, humanity might well follow.
Then see to it that we don't lose her.
That dialogue was unique to our profile in Mass Effect 1. 1 month after the devastating Geth attack on the Citadel, the Galactic community struggles to rebuild. The Alliance fleet made a tremendous sacrifice to save the Council and earned humanity membership in their prestigious group. Now the Council is forced to respond to evidence of the Reapers, enormous machines that eradicate all civilization every 5,000 years. Return to 50,000. So they've sent Shepard out to go fight Geth. Normandy hype.
Disengaging FTL drives. Emission sinks active. Board is green. We are running silent.
We're wasting our time. 4 days searching up and down this sector, and we haven't found any sign of Geth activity.
3 ships went missing here in the past month. Something happened to them.
My money's on slavers. The Terminus system is crawling with them.
Picking up something on the long-range scanner. Unidentified vessel. Looks like a cruiser.
Doesn't match any known signatures.
Cruiser is changing course. Now on intercept trajectory.
Can't be. Stealth systems are engaged. There's no way a Geth ship could possibly...
It's not the Geth. Brace for evasive maneuvers!
Presley!
Grenade barriers down! Multiple hull breaches! Weapons offline! Somebody get that fire out!
The RCB.
Distress beacon is ready for launch. Will the Alliance get here in time?
What a great way of opening the game and hiding her face at the beginning.
The Alliance won't abandon us. We just need to hold on. Get everyone onto the escape shuttles. Joker's still in the cockpit. He won't abandon ship. I'm not leaving either. I need you to get the crew onto the evac shuttles. I'll take care of Joker. Commander! Caden, go! Now. Aye, aye.
It's cool that
Everybody in! Go! Everybody in! Go! Go! Go!
they've changed the conversation scenes to be a little bit more active. It used to be in Mass Effect 1, like whenever you had a conversation, it tended to be frozen in spot, just two people facing each other back to back, but now there's a lot of action going on between conversation. Hey Kuja. Hey Kuja, big fan of Mass Effect. So I'm not going to subject you guys to this. When I first booted up the game, as soon as it let me, the first thing I did was read all the codexes, so I won't do that. We'll go ahead and just progress with the game. Yeah, Mass Effect 2 is amazing. I think I like the story of Mass Effect 1 the most, but overall this game is the best. We'll talk about that a lot when we play here today. Let me go try to fix the audio problem you're talking about.
Joker. We have to get out of here.
No, I won't abandon the Normandy! I can still save her!
The Normandy's lost. Going down with the ship won't change that.
Yeah, okay. Help me up. They're coming around for another attack!
Cool. Oh no, Robert, I'll keep reading the codex entries. I'm not just going to do it immediately in the most exciting part of the game. Or one of the most exciting parts of the game. Yes, I am playing FF9. production value on this game is just so high, so well done. I told my wife I love her, but if I could only relive one moment, it wouldn't involve her. It would be like playing through Mass Effect 2 for the first time again. And she said that's fair.
Commander Shepard has been recovered. The Lazarus Project will proceed as planned.
While this cool cutscene plays, put up a vote in chat. You can vote for Shepard's class. Vote 1 to stay as a Vanguard, so don't change the class. 2 to switch to Soldier. 3 for Sentinel. 4 for Engineer. 5 for Adept. And 6 for Infiltrator. If there's a tie, I'll cast the deciding vote. And Mr. Friendly, RCB. I'm happy with the imported face. This face was designed by Stream when we first started playing the game. We voted on Shepard's gender as well as most of her basic facial features, so looks quite good in Mass Effect 2. Made some just texture adjustments to the character decisions from 1. It also happens in Mass Effect 3 as well. Two to switch to Soldier. Okay, let me throw up the poll results here. Right now it's a 3-way tie, so unless if someone gets 2 votes in one category, I'll just cast the tiebreaker. 6. Okay. Infiltrator is quite good. Okay, I'm gonna do a quick countdown. Hey, thanks for the follow, Friendly. That is 2 for Soldier. Okay. Thanks for the follow, Kuja. That's cool. It looks like the poll just closed, but I see that there's 2 for Soldier and didn't see any other votes come in, so we will switch. I actually haven't played Mass Effect 2 before as a Soldier. I've done Infiltrator, Vanguard, Sentinel, Adept, and I haven't done Engineer or Soldier. Oh, okay, Ryan. Soldier? Very good. I am gonna keep... I'm just gonna pick one of these. I'm gonna keep Barrier, I think. Like the other games, if you've already beaten it, you get to pick up an ability from one of your previous classes. You're good, man. Alright, so we're gonna come up with a story reason for why that happened. It'll be cool.
She's reacting to outside stimuli, showing an awareness of her surroundings. Oh my god, Miranda. I think she's waking up.
Damn it, Wilson. She's not ready yet. Give her the sedative. Shepard, don't try to move. Just lie still. Try to stay calm.
Heart rate's still climbing. Brain activity is off the charts. Stats pushing into the red zone.
Yes, I know that, Burner.
Another dose. Now.
Heart rate dropping. Stats falling back into normal.
But that's correct. You don't get it from your classes you played through, you get it from your squad mates.
Almost lost her.
I told you your estimates were off. Run the numbers again.
Oh, geez, T-Rock. Guess that explains why you had a save, huh?
Wake up, Commander.
Yeah, I only did Vanguard. My first playthrough was Vanguard, Vanguard, Vanguard.
Shepard, do you hear me? Get out of that bed now. This facility is under attack. Shepard, your scars aren't healed, but I need you to get moving. This facility is under attack. There's a pistol in the locker on the other side of the room. Hurry! Grab the pistol and armor.
Alright, so the fact that we've changed classes from Vanguard to Soldier, and Shepard has been basically rebuilt. She was dead and they rebuilt her. Makes me think that from a story perspective, Shepard was a biotic, and like the event that had happened, we just saw that basically killed her and brought her back, affected her so traumatically that now she's back and she's lost her biotic ability. So I don't think they're ever going to comment on your class change in the game, but that's kind of an interesting thing to think about from a story perspective. I'm going to be reading these codexes, but not right now. We'll wait till we get out of the exciting part. One thing that I've been doing, if you've been watching, if you go back and go on YouTube and watch the Mass Effect 1 playthrough, I like to read through all the new codexes as they come in, because it adds a lot to the depth of the story. There's so much that they've covered in the background, and this includes all of your codexes from the first one, so I might take a look at them off stream, figure out which of them I've already read through, and then just go through the new ones that they just added here at the beginning.
Pistol doesn't have a thermal clip.
It's a med bay. I'll get you a clip from... Damn it! Those canisters by the door are going to blow.
Alright, so the game hasn't explained it yet, but they're going to do it later via codex. Remember, in Mass Effect 1, we didn't have ammo, right? Guns were limited only by heat. They had a little block of metal inside of them. They'd shave off a tiny little piece and fire that piece using the Mass Effect field. So they effectively had infinite ammo. They've done away with that in Mass Effect 2, and there's going to be an in-game universe explanation for it. I'll get to it when we get to it. But basically now they have these thermal clips. It's the same basic idea. You still are just shaving off a block of metal, but rather than wait on your gun to stop reheating, overheating, it ejects the extra heat into these clips, which are basically like ammo slots, and then throws them away. So it's essentially the same as ammo. But they didn't just do that without trying to make an in-universe explanation for it. They did. We'll get to it later in the game.
Someone's hacking security trying to kill you. Look for a thermal clip for your pistol. Looks like they set up a barricade to try holding the mechs off. Look out! Keep moving, we need to get to the shuttles.
Nice, D-Rock.
Shepard, security mechs are closing in on your position. Don't take any chances. Stay in cover while you take out those mechs.
I think I got some level ups I can do already. Now, interestingly, in this game, you don't have to put points into a Paragon skill separately. You just put all your points, in this case, in Combat Mastery. So they don't make you choose between combat skills and social skills, which is greatly appreciated. There's also a shared cooldown for abilities, which makes the game simpler and doesn't require you to use... Like, it better balances the game, too. So once you trigger any ability, you start a global cooldown, basically. Like in an MMO, before you can use any ability again.
Nice work, Shepard.
The combat in this game is much cleaner than Mass Effect 1. I love Mass Effect 1 with all of my heart, but this game is an improvement in just about every area. If you were following the Mass Effect forums around the time this game came out, BioWare literally had a spreadsheet that had every person's complaint about Mass Effect 1 and how they tried to address it in Mass Effect 2 from all of like the major journalists, and they've actually gotten to everything. In some ways not as well as others, like they cut the Mako because people didn't like the Mako. I think it's too bad. I enjoyed the Mako. But they did make an attempt to change everything, and I think that's really cool.
Don't waste time. I can't keep the mix distracted for long.
Wasting time, immersing myself in the game universe. So we've seen this symbol before, but I won't tell you what it is yet because the game universe is going to.
More reinforcements heading your way. Here come the mechs. Use the grenade launcher to take them out.
Hostiles detected.
This game has like super weapons. You can only have one of them at a time. That's what that was. Let's see. Do I want to use Disruptor, break shields? That slows down time. Adrenaline Rush. I haven't done Soldier before in Mass Effect 2 and beyond, so let's see.
Hurry! Get to the door! Run! You're doing fine, Shep. Head to the next room and I'll try to meet you. Shepard, read me. I've got men closing in on my position.
This one has an objective meter like Bioshock Infinite, so you know which way is forward and which way is optional.
Progress is slow, but subject shows signs of recovery. Major organs are again functional, and there are signs of rudimentary neurological activity. In an effort to accelerate the process, we've moved from simple organic reconstruction of the subject to biosynthetic fusion. Initial results show progress.
Okay, so Shepard is a cyborg now.
Log update. The cost of this project is astronomical. Over 4 billion credits so far. But nobody seems to care that we've gone over budget. I don't know where the boss gets all his money. Maybe it's better not to know. I just wish he'd kick a little more in my direction once in a while.
So that's important to know, like, the ability to basically resurrect someone is not easy or obvious. Like, it's a huge money sink and was possible to not have succeeded. The hacking in this game is much more robust than it was in Mass Effect 1. We're going to see a couple of those systems in this game. Here's one of them. Getting money, getting paid. Alright, let's go. Interesting, it says it's a Cerberus laptop. You may remember when we were playing Mass Effect 1, I was careful to point out that the game mentioned Cerberus a couple times, but they're not really an important or big deal in that one. Clearly we're in a Cerberus laboratory now. That's part of it, D-Rock, but it's mostly a matching game, so like, there are a total of 4 symbols, and each symbol appears twice, so like, you gotta find the 2 circle symbols and match them together. You can only see the symbol when you hover over it, though. Right. And then there's another one for hacking that we'll see in a bit. It's also quite cool.
What the hell? Tag! What are you doing here? I thought you were still a work in progress.
Yeah, I hear you, Maggrav. Like, if it were me, I would have ended Mass Effect 1 with Shepard dying, and then had that be the beginning of Mass Effect 2. It makes me wonder if that was an internal decision at BioWare that they wanted Shepard to die at the end of Mass Effect 1. There's that whole scene in From the Wreckage where it's possible, right? I feel like that might have had a better impact, but, you know, they did what they did. It was still a cool opening scene. It doesn't get forgotten in the game.
Sorry. I forgot this is all new to you right now. I'm Jacob Taylor. I've been stationed here for—
Hostiles detected.
Damn it! Things must be worse than I thought if Miranda's got you running around. I'll fill you in, but we better—
You see a lot more action in these dialogue sequences. In Mass Effect 1, it was all very much two people facing each other. One person talks, now this person talks. In this one, there's a little bit of mix of both. Similarly, you've noticed they've done a little bit more like Half-Life style sequencing of the area, where like you're walking through and you keep seeing that giant mech walking around. It's like, oh man, when am I going to fight that giant mech?
I know this isn't the best time, but I'm sick of stumbling around when I don't know what's going on.
Fair enough. I'll give you the quick version. You and your ship were attacked and destroyed. You were killed. Dead as dead can be when they brought you here. Our scientists spent the last 2 years putting you back together. You've been comatose, or worse, that whole time.
Maggrav, Mass Effect was definitely planned as a trilogy from the beginning. Drew Karpyshyn was saying that even when he was writing it to begin with. That's why they saved all of the decisions that you make in Mass Effect 1. They wouldn't have done that if they weren't expecting to make multiple games out of it. Most of the faults from Mass Effect 2 and 3 can be attributed to EA's influence over both games. Particularly in 3, where EA diverted a huge chunk of their budget into making a multiplayer mode, which ended up being quite good. Mass Effect 3's multiplayer is very fun, but as a primarily single-player RPG experience, I don't think they should have diverted so many of their resources to it, and I think that the game suffered. But we're trying to keep this as a no-spoiler playthrough. We've got some folks in chat who haven't played through Mass Effect, so we'll talk about those things a little bit more as we reach them in the story.
This doesn't look like an Alliance facility.
It isn't. I can't say much more than that for now. The Alliance officially declared you killed in action. The whole galaxy thinks you're dead. And if we don't get to those shuttles, they'll be right.
Mass Effect 3 had the unreleased had one of the most disappointing endings in the history of fiction, I would say, in comparison to the build-up to it. They've made some patches after the fact to try to address it, but again, I feel like that's a consequence of budget cuts. And we'll talk about that more as we get into Mass Effect 3 and as we beat Mass Effect 3. I think there's a lot of discussion there. I just want to defer that until we've actually beaten the game.
Were there any other survivors from the Normandy?
I'll tell you what. You help me finish off these mechs, and I'll play 20 questions with you all day. We're low on thermal clips, but I'm a biotic. Just give the order when you want me to hit them with the good stuff.
Was that the good stuff, Jacob? Do a lift.
Okay. I promised I'd answer your questions.
No, you're good, Maggrav. Yeah, so the plan for Mass Effect 4 is that it takes place in the Andromeda Galaxy. All of Mass Effect 1 through 3 takes place in the Milky Way, which is more than enough. But the idea of putting it in Andromeda is it can be a sequel to Mass Effect 3 without needing to care what actually happened in Mass Effect 3 or 2 or 1.
You said they spent 2 years rebuilding me. How bad were my injuries?
I'm no doctor, but it was bad. When I first saw you, you were nothing but meat and tubes. Anywhere else, they'd have put you in a coffin. But Project Lazarus was different. Cutting-edge technology.
Yeah, I agree, Kuja. So this is the way I would have handled it. If EA was really pushing for there to be a thermal clip ammo system to make it more like a standard shooter, okay, fine. And we have evidence that EA is the one that pushed for that. What doesn't make sense is that in the lore of Mass Effect, it says that, okay, you're using these thermal clips so that you don't have the overheating problem. Okay, fine. But you should still be able to use it like a Mass Effect 1 gun when you overheat. So if you run out of thermal clips, it should just work like a Mass Effect 1 gun until you find another thermal clip, and it should just speed it up. They should have done a mix of 1 and 2 instead of just doing it as 2, and I think that's the problem.
What do you mean, cloning? Cybernetics?
I don't know the details. You'd have to ask the scientists. But I'm pretty sure you're not a clone. They wanted to bring you back exactly as you were. You're still you. You just might have.
So what happened was BioWare made Mass Effect all by themselves, and then EA purchased them and influenced a lot of the game development in 2 and 3. We were Vanguard in Mass Effect 1. We just had a vote that picked Soldier in Mass Effect 2, so I haven't played Soldier before Mass Effect 2. This is my first time. But that was viewer decision. She has short hair because viewers voted for that.
Can you tell me about the project? Were there other test subjects?
Project Lazarus only had one subject. The whole point was to bring you back. Just you. Even that was a challenge. 2 years. All the top scientists. The best technology money could buy.
Do you know anything about this attack? Who's behind it, what they're after?
Damned if I know. I was getting ready for some shut-eye, then bam! Bunch of explosions. Next thing I know, every damn mech in the place starts shooting. At us. I'm guessing it had to be an inside job. You'd need top security access to hack all the mechs.
The last thing I remember is the Normandy blowing up. Did anyone else make it?
Just about everybody survived. A few servicemen from the lower decks didn't get out. Navigator Presley was killed by an explosion. But everyone else, including the non-Alliance crew, the Asari, Liara, and the Quarian...
Thank God. Right, Robert. So both EA and Activision are very large companies that tend to buy up smaller ones, like milk their IP, their intellectual property, for as much money as they can, and then spit them out. So we saw this happen. EA bought Maxis, and then produced the critically abhorred SimCity, and basically ruined Maxis, and everyone who was a part of that company quit and did something else. It was very sad.
Do you know what any of them are doing now?
I don't know, Commander. It's been 2 years. They've moved on. Left the Alliance. Could be anyone.
Yeah, I was definitely full Paragon in Mass Effect 1, but it was, again, stream decisions. Everyone in chat voted for what we did, and it was just, on average, it was Paragon at the end.
They were my team. If they knew I was alive, they'd come back.
Maybe you can track them down after we get off the station. If we get off the station.
When I first woke up, someone named Miranda was talking to me over the radio. We lost contact just before I ran into you.
Miranda Lawson is the station's ranking officer. She led the Lazarus team. It was her job to bring you back to life, no matter what. Should have guessed she'd try to save you. She's not about to give up on you now. You said you lost contact.
Very good. I'm okay with changing gears in Mass Effect 2. It's interesting, you call it like the Frankenstein playthrough, where like, you know, Shepard goes under the knife after she dies and is resurrected and is different now. That's a cool idea just from like an emergent storyline perspective. So however you guys want to take it, we were primarily Paragon in Mass Effect 1. For those of you who are new in chat, well, let me finish this conversation. I'll keep talking while we continue the combat stuff. One sec.
There was some gunfire and an explosion right before I lost her.
She knows how to take care of herself. But I hope she's okay.
What's the quickest way to those shuttles?
Depends where the mechs are thickest. It's probably best if we...
Check. Anyone on this frequency? Anybody still alive out there? Hello?
Wilson, this is Jacob. I'm here with Commander Shepard. Just took out a wave of mechs over in D-Wing.
Shepard's alive? How the hell? Never mind. You need to get her out of there. Get to the service tunnels and head for the network control room.
Roger that, Wilson. Stay on this frequency.
I think I remember a Wilson checking on me one time when I woke up.
That's him. He's the chief medical tech. Answers directly to Miranda. Come on. The service tunnel.
Kami, I think that's a super cool story way to handle it. Start as a soldier and then wake up with biotics, like they enhanced you. That's what I was saying when you were offline, that like the fact that people voted to switch her from a Vanguard to a soldier must mean that something happened during the reconstruction that she lost her biotic ability, which is kind of a cool idea.
Log update. The Lazarus project is about to enter the final phase. It's taken nearly 2 years, but we did it. Commander Shepard is alive. This is the most amazing medical achievement in recorded history. Maybe now Miranda will finally show some appreciation for everything I've done.
Yeah, so I like the idea. I've only ever played this game as full Paragon, and I've watched my wife play almost full Renegade. She's very much a Renegade Shepard. I have trouble doing Renegade options myself, especially if it's the same Paragon Shepard I've played before. If I'm going to do a Renegade playthrough, I always have to make a new character, because I associate that character too much with being a Paragon, or one way or the other. Right. But I like the idea of switching midstream, because it makes sense from a storyline perspective. Shepard wakes up and something's wrong. First she was Paragon, and now she's Renegade.
Hostiles detected.
So I was saying that if you haven't been watching so far, what we're doing with this is I am putting important decisions to a vote, so things that carry over into the later games. In general, if a decision is just between, you know, remove content from Mass Effect 3 or add content to Mass Effect 3, we'll just go with the one that adds the content. An example is Conrad Werner. If you just dismiss Conrad Werner, then nothing happens in Mass Effect 2 involving him, so we ushered the decision in a direction that guaranteed there'll be some kind of Conrad Werner interaction in this game. But in general, any major decisions, Stream is going to get to vote on. Very much likely. Steve Bloom is the voice of Grunt, so he's probably also Wilson. They usually will reuse voice actors.
Shepard, down here.
I don't want to talk to him yet. Is there anything this way first? Sorry, buddy, I got stuff to explore.
Physical reconstruction of subject is complete, but we still need to evaluate all mental and neurological functions. Our orders were clear. Make Commander Shepard who she was before the explosion. The same mind, the same morals, the same personality. If we alter her identity in any way, if she's somehow not the woman she used to be, the Lazarus Project will have failed. I refuse.
Steve Bloom's pretty great. He's in the I Know That Voice documentary. If you like voice actors, you should watch this documentary. It's free on Netflix, and it's quite good.
Bastard's got me in the leg.
Yeah, Steve Blum, Jennifer Hale is in everything. The guy who plays Nathan Drake, James Arnold Taylor.
Regain consciousness.
Yeah, that was me. How about we talk about this after we fix my leg?
Should be some Medi-gel in the first aid station on the wall. Hopefully there's enough to get him up and moving again.
Grab the Medi-gel from the first aid station on the wall. Thanks, Shepard. Never thought you'd save my life. Guess that makes us even now. I thought maybe I could shut down the security mechs, but whoever did this fried the whole system. Completely irreversible.
We didn't ask what you were doing. Why do you even have...
I just timed you out, Burner. You're not kicked or anything.
Weren't you listening?
Light spoiler. Careful with those, please.
Try and fix this. Besides, I was shot. How do you explain that?
You're all strangers to me. Let's get someplace safe and then we'll sort out whose fault it is.
Right, Shepard. We need to find Miranda. We can't leave her behind.
Forget about Miranda. She was over in D-Wing. The mechs were all over that sector. There's no way she survived.
A bunch of mechs won't drop Miranda. She's alive.
Then where is she? Why haven't we heard from her? There are only two possible explanations. She's either dead, or she's a traitor.
Then why did she wake me up and warn me about the attack?
Okay, maybe she's not a traitor. But that doesn't change the facts. We're here, she's not. We need to save ourselves. The shuttle bay is only a few... Nope.
Cool. Overload, OP versus Max.
Okay, we took him down. But this is getting tense. Shepard, if I tell you who we work for, will you trust me?
This really isn't the time, Jacob.
We won't make it if she's expecting a shot in the back.
If you want to piss off the boss, it's your ass, Jacob.
The Lazarus Project. The program that rebuilt you. It's funded and controlled by Cerberus.
Yeah, Kuja, that's what I was saying, that I told my wife that I love her, but if I could erase my memories of anything to experience fresh for the first time, it would be Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 1 and 2. Hold on, before I continue, let me type in chat to try to fix this desync problem.
Should I recognize that name?
Maybe that's a side effect of your recovery. You and Cerberus certainly have a history. According to the Alliance, we're a radical pro-human splinter group. You wiped out several of our research bases. But things change. The Alliance declared you dead. They gave up. Cerberus spent a fortune to bring you back. Look, I'd be suspicious too, but right now we have to work together. I thought you deserved to know what's what. Once we're off the station, I'll take you to the Illusive Man. He'll explain everything.
Right, so that's part of why we did those side quest Cerberus missions, because it gets Jacob to mention, hey, you wiped out some of our bases on your first mission. Alright guys, I'm going to try to fix the audio problem. Give me 1 second to refresh the Elgato. And see if it comes back up here. 1 sec. I gotta fix the screen here. Give me 1 sec and then we'll keep going. Alright, let me know if that fixes the game audio sync. That's cool, D-Rock. Actually, I don't think there have been too many explicit spoilers for Mass Effect 1 so far, but there will be very soon. The whole death of Shepard thing happened at the beginning of this game, not the end of Mass Effect 1. But yeah, if you need to bounce because you're playing through Mass Effect 1 yourself, please go for it. That means that this channel has been successful in getting you to play Mass Effect. And other great games.
Illusive Man. Is he in charge of all this?
Yeah, that's not his real name, of course. Nobody knows who he really is.
It was a code name the Alliance used for him. Kinda stuck.
I don't care what they did or what you say. I am not working with terrorists.
You can tell it to the boss. But after we'll save their butts. We're almost at the shuttle.
I'm gonna shoot the gun a few times to try to test the audio sync. Let me know if it's better. Okay, cool, thank you. In the future, if that happens again, let me know. I just had to restart the Elgato, basically. But thank you for the heads up. Awesome. Yeah, I don't think we've said anything in this one yet that is explicitly spoiled anything from Mass Effect 1. Shit. Forgot that I have to be careful doing that. I'm trying to match the code segments to the target that's up at the top. Before it scrolls away. Here we go. That's correct, Kami. In fact, it doesn't even load on 64-bit. I think it may have just been because I switched from the PS3 to the Xbox 360 without like restarting the stream or moving or refreshing the device. I think that's the way forward, so let's go not the way forward first. Let's just be a dead end. Okay. Very good.
Alert.
Do you want a heads up, D-Rock, for when you should bail because of Mass Effect 1 spoilers? Is that what you mean? Oh, let's map that power. And we'll try that one.
System not designed for specialized ammunition.
Kinda cool, it's like a time slow effect. Give you a chance to line up headshots. Oh, I love the minigame in this one. It's so much better than the Simon Says in Mass Effect 1. Yeah, we'll do D-Rock. It's actually very soon. When we meet Miranda, you should probably bounce. Because there's going to be a sequence where they talk about stuff that happened at the end of Mass Effect 1, and you don't want to be there for that if you don't want it to be spoiled. Sure. My pleasure. Dude, Lift is so much more, like, aggressive in this game. Oh god. Dude, I really like, do you see this on-screen cooldown indicator? Check out how cool this is. Like, when I have a skill on cooldown, there's these two half circles that come toward the reticle to let me know when the power's back up, so I don't have to be checking my menu constantly to see what my cooldowns are. It's very clever. Hey Jonathan McClare, how's it going? Getting money, getting paid. Alright, you should probably bounce now, D-Rock. If you don't want Mass Effect 1 spoilers. Catch you next time, though. Maybe if you catch up on Mass Effect 1, you can watch.
Dead?
What the hell are you doing?
My job. Wilson betrayed us all.
Right, T-Rock. Yeah, so see all the action in the dialogue sequences? Like, you never would have had stuff like this in Mass Effect 1. They were mostly just like two people talking back and forth, standing facing each other.
Even if you're sure, did he deserve that welcome?
He sabotaged the security systems, killed my staff, and he would have killed us.
You sure about that, Miranda? We've known Wilson for years. What if you're wrong?
I'm never wrong. I thought you'd have learnt that by now, Jacob.
You should have taken him alive, see what he knew.
Too risky. I've put too much time and effort bringing you back to life to let you get killed now.
You really think Wilson's capable of that?
Not anymore.
Yeah, Kuja, the cooldown meter is really cool. Like I said, I think I have a slight preference for Mass Effect 1 for the whole series. I just like the tone and the story and some of the conversations in it. Mass Effect 2 is still great, though. Mass Effect 2 is a much more polished game than 1. 1, while being great, is very unpolished. It's kind of buggy, you know, not a lot of thought given to the UI.
If you say so. What's our next step?
We get on the shuttle and go. My boss wants to speak to you.
You mean the Illusive man? I know you work for Cerberus.
Ah, Jacob. I should have known your conscience would get the better of you.
Lying to the commander isn't the way to get her to join our cause.
Well, since we're getting everything out in the open, is there anything else you want to ask before we go, Commander?
Convenient that you show up as we're leaving. Where were you during the attack?
Besides trying to save your life? Wilson figured out I was helping you and he sent an army of mechs to take me out. I got here as soon as I could. Probably a little too soon if you ask Wilson.
Miranda is both voice acted by Yvonne Strahovski, and she's also mocapped by Yvonne Strahovski. She looks just like her.
What about the rest of the people on the station?
This is the evac area. If they're not here now, they're not coming.
We can't leave without knowing for sure. We need to go back and look.
Don't you get it? The only one worth saving is you. Everyone else is expendable.
She's right. We all knew the risks when we signed up. Without you, there's no point to any of this.
Where are we going?
Another Cerberus facility. The Illusive man is waiting for you there.
Not sure I trust you.
This is the only shuttle off the station. You want to stay and rot with the mechs? Be my guest.
That's a good way to put it, Kuja. So I've discussed this with people off stream before. Western RPGs are well known for their huge focus on setting and the plot arc, whereas Japanese RPGs like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest and Chrono Trigger are more closely focused on characters and building characters. And that way, Mass Effect 2 is a unique Western RPG, and that it plays like a JRPG. Most of this game is focusing on building these characters. Yes, there's a main plot. Yes, it follows along with it, but there's a lot more focus on building this team, building this squad, than there is on moving the plot forward at this plotting pace.
You're the Lazarus Project's director, aren't you?
That's right. I put 2 years of my life into this project. Into you.
What does Cerberus want from me?
Maybe you should ask the Illusive Man when you meet him. He poured virtually unlimited resources into Lazarus. Obviously, he has some kind of plan for you.
But I think I agree 100% with your feelings. Like, I can't really rank Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2. They're both equally amazing games.
I've had enough of this station to last a lifetime.
Or 2, in your case. Come on.
I'm going to talk about the UI here in a sec once we learn a little bit more about what's going on with Shepard. They made a pretty conscious choice with the UI that I think is very interesting.
Before you meet with the Illusive Man, we need to ask a few questions to evaluate your condition.
Come on, Miranda, more tests? Shepard took down those mechs without any trouble. That has to be good enough.
It's been 2 years since the attack. The Illusive Man needs to know that Shepard's personality and memories are intact. Ask the questions.
Did you say 2 years? I've been gone that long?
2 years and 12 days. And you were on an operating table for most of it.
The sooner we start, the sooner we can be done. Start with personal history.
Okay. Records show you were a spacer kid, raised mostly on one ship or another. You enlisted and won a medal fighting Batarians during the Skillian Blitz.
So this is a cool scene. Not only is it cool because it makes sense from a story perspective, but it actually has a reason, and I'll tell you the reason is when we get to it. It's going to involve a decision I'm going to pull chat for here shortly.
A lot of lives depended on me holding that position. I did what I had to.
However you want to put it, it was damn impressive. I had friends who were there. Satisfied, Miranda?
Almost. Let's try something more recent. Vermeer, where you destroyed Saren's cloning facility. You had to leave one of your squad behind to die in the blast.
Gunnery Chief Ashley Williams was killed in action. It was your call. Why did you leave her behind?
I left a friend to die that day and I didn't do it casually. But I had to save as many people as I could. Ash gave her life for the rest of the team. Without her, I couldn't have stopped Saren. She died a hero.
I understand, Commander. And I wasn't judging your decision. Everybody at Cerberus knows that cloning facility had to be destroyed.
Shepard, think back to the Citadel, after the Alliance saved the Destiny Ascension and you killed Saren. What happened next?
Okay, so I'm going to put up the poll here. The reason this scene even exists, vote 1 for Captain Anderson, vote 2 for Udina. The reason this scene exists is there's a bug in Mass Effect 1. In Mass Effect 1, they ask you to say who should be on the council, Anderson or Udina, which is great, but the problem is the save point that like stores all of the data about your decisions in Mass Effect 1 happens before the conversation where you pick that. So they didn't actually save your decision. So this whole scene where they're asking you to like summarize your backstory is just to get you to fix this bug and tell them which one you picked. Oh, you're good, Jonathan. So we've got 3 for Anderson, 1 for Udina. We'll give it another 15 seconds or so, and then we'll close it out. Kami has an interesting reason for picking Udina, and I'll explain what that reason is much later in the game. It's quite a good one though. I think that so BioWare gathered a lot of metrics on player decisions in the games, and overwhelmingly, like 99% of players picked Anderson. This was not, to them, this really wasn't an interesting decision. You know, even the most renegadiest of renegades didn't pick Udina most of the time. Alright, it's 2-3. Ooh, it's a tie. Interesting. Alright, well, I'm going to close it out with a tie. And I will cast the tie-breaking vote. And D-Rock, if he were here, would have voted Udina. So let's go with Udina. And I'll explain why later. I don't think that's a spoiler, Kami. It's just saying that there's something later in the story that makes picking Anderson kind of weird.
Humanity was offered a spot on the council. I recommended Ambassador Udina for the position.
Yes, Ambassador Udina is now Councillor Udina. He's done an admirable job of representing humanity's interests.
Not sure he's done enough for humanity, but I guess that's politics for you.
Your memory seems solid. There are other tests we really should run.
Come on, Miranda. Enough with the quizzes. The memories are there, and I can vouch for Shepard's combat skills personally.
I suppose you're right. We'll have to hope the Illusive Man accepts our little field test as evidence enough.
Illusive Man's pretty great. This is his Minuteman ship. He's voiced by Martin Sheen, who's famously the voice or the actor playing President Bartlett in The West Wing.
Is waiting for you in the other room.
He's definitely their biggest name actor in this game.
I wouldn't keep the Illusive Man waiting.
If you guys are interested in what Kami's talking about for why did Kami pick Udina on a, like, knowledge of God second playthrough, you should shoot him a message.
The Illusive Man is waiting for you in the other room.
We're gonna wait to mess with this. There's actually, if you're playing Mass Effect 2 for the first time, there's a spoiler if you click on this. It pissed me off when I played the game. It's like maybe, I don't know, a 5-minute spoiler, but it's still a spoiler, so we'll mess with it when we come back up.
Commander Shepard.
Illusive Man. I thought we'd be meeting face to face.
Unnecessary precaution. Not unusual for people who know what you and I know.
You might be the reason I'm still alive, but that doesn't mean I trust you.
You need to put your personal feelings aside. Humanity is up against the greatest threat of our brief existence.
The Reapers.
Good to see your memory's still intact. How are you feeling?
Yeah, Illusive Man's pretty great. I've toyed around with the idea, so the mission statement of this stream, real quick before we continue this conversation, is to play through every awesome game that's ever been made, because I feel that there are enough awesome games out there that even if I devoted my whole life to it, I couldn't get to all of them in one lifetime. But there are some games that do warrant multiple playthroughs, so I've thought about doing a second quest playthrough. So the first one will always be no spoilers. Let's make this accessible to someone who's never played the game before in case they wanted to check it out. But if we did a second quest playthrough, it would be, okay, let's play through this game full spoilers and let's talk about all the implications of every decision leading into Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3. This game would definitely be one of the candidates for that style of playthrough.
You need to earn the right to ask me those kinds of questions.
Cerberus isn't as evil as you believe. You and I are on the same side. We just have different methods.
Cut to the chase. What are the Reapers doing that made you decide to bring me back?
We're at war. No one wants to admit it, but humanity is under attack. While you've been sleeping, entire colonies have been disappearing. Human colonies. We believe it's someone working for the Reapers, just as Saren and the Geth aided Sovereign. You've seen it yourself. You bested all of them. That's just one reason we chose you.
Fighting a war doesn't seem like Cerberus. Why are you involved?
We're committed to the advancement and preservation of humanity. If the Reapers are targeting us, trying to wipe us out, Cerberus will stop them. If we wait for politicians or the Alliance to act, no more human colonies will be left.
I think that we're actually seeing this scene, Madgrav, from the Illusive Man's perspective in the Illusive Man's room. So he, you know, Shepard's not seeing this amazing high-def, high-res area. Shepard's seeing... Imagine the bad res, bad noise on Shepard's hologram, and the same thing is what she's perceiving. They're just using a cinematic technique by putting us in the Illusive Man's room rather than from Shepard's point of view to kind of shift the power of the scene to the Illusive Man.
Sovereign was trying to harvest all life in the galaxy. Why would the Reapers target a few human colonies?
Hundreds of thousands of colonists have vanished. I'd say that fits the definition of harvesting. Nobody's paying attention because it's random, and the attacks occur in remote locations. I don't know why they've suddenly targeted humanity. Maybe you got their attention when you killed one of them.
Oh, these go in different order, don't they?
You could have trained an entire army for what you spent to bring me back.
You're unique. Not just in ability or what you've experienced, but in what you represent. You stood for humanity at a key moment. You're more than a soldier. You're a symbol. And I don't know if the Reapers understand fear, but you killed one. They have to respect.
So someone was asking, you know, do they explain why they did this? The options go in different directions. It's because it's like bringing Jesus back to life and then asking Jesus to, like, support your cause. Like, you get a lot of people on your side automatically.
If this is a threat against humanity, you need to mobilize the Alliance.
They suffered substantial losses fighting Sovereign. They're rebuilding, still stretched too thin to waste resources verifying the Reaper threat. Blaming the abductions on mercs and pirates is easier and more convenient.
If what you say is true, if the Reapers are behind this, I'd consider helping you.
I'd be disappointed if you accepted any of this without seeing for yourself. I have a shuttle ready to take you to Freedom's Progress, the latest colony to be abducted. Miranda and Jacob will brief you.
Miranda killed Wilson in cold blood. Jacob's just a gun for hire. You expect me to trust them?
Wilson was one of my best agents, but he was a traitor. Miranda did exactly what I expected of her, and she saved your life in more ways than one. Jacob's a soldier, one of the best. He's never fully trusted me, but he's always been honest about it. You'll be just fine with them. For now.
Is this a volunteer job, or am I being volunteered?
You always have a choice, Shepard. If you don't find the evidence we're both looking for, we can part ways. But first, go to Freedom's Progress. Find any clues you can. Who's abducting the colonies? Do they have any connection to the Reapers? I brought you back. It's up to you to do the rest.
I'm interested. I don't think I've ever done a playthrough with Udina as the counselor, so I'm curious to see that. So we're not going to read this, we're not going to do this armor locker thing yet. We're going to wait until we get downtime. So it might be next stream or so that we'll start reading through some of the codexes. But I do definitely intend to go through the codexes, because that's a great way to experience the game.
The Illusive man is very impressed with you. I'm eager to see if you can live up to his expectations on this mission.
I can't have anyone disobeying my commands when we get there.
I know who I report to. As long as you don't do anything to betray Cerberus, I'll follow your orders.
I never got a chance to say how much I appreciated what the Lazarus Project did for me.
I just hope it was worth it. A lot of people lost their lives on that station.
We have to work together here. Your attitude isn't helping anything.
I have the utmost respect for your abilities, Shepard. It's your motivations that concern me. I believe in what Cerberus stands for. Only time will tell if you prove to be an asset or a liability to our cause.
What can you tell me about this colony we're going to?
Freedom's Progress? It's a typical human settlement in the Terminus systems. They had a small military force for protection supplemented by mechs and security drones. Average in almost every way, really. Completely unremarkable. Until the disappearance.
Nice, Kuja. I don't think I've ever done a playthrough of a game without having played through the whole series. Like, I've never just gone back and done 3 again from scratch.
Any thoughts on what we might run into there?
A lot of empty buildings and one giant mystery.
I'd like to know more about the Lazarus Project from the person in charge.
I wasn't in charge. The Illusive man was. If I was running the show, would have done a few things differently.
What would you have changed?
To start, I would have implanted you with some type of control chip. But the Illusive man wouldn't allow it. He was afraid it might affect your personality, alter your character somehow. He wouldn't let us do anything that might limit your potential in any way.
It's interesting this is the lampshade hang, right? Because I'm sure that this is a question that a lot of players would have, and they knock it out right there at the beginning.
Can't say I like the idea of being brought back to life with a control chip in my brain.
The Illusive man is taking an incredible risk with you. I just hope his gamble pays off.
Tell me a little about yourself.
Worried about my qualifications? I can crush a mech with my biotics or shoot its head off at 100 yards. Take your pick.
I was trying to get to know you as a human being.
I'm not looking for a friend, Shepard. Stay focused on the mission.
Did you and Jacob serve together in the Alliance?
No. The Illusive man recognized my potential and recruited me at a young age.
How old were you?
Old enough to know this is what I wanted.
It's obvious you're not interested in talking.
We've got an assignment. We can talk about it or we can do it.
Calm your beard.
I'm glad the Illusive man convinced you to join us, Commander.
I just want to find out what happened to those missing people. I still don't trust Cerberus.
Noted. Do you trust me, Commander?
Preference to Mass Effect 1 aside, I think I definitely, as far as human companions go, Miranda and Jacob are a lot more interesting than Ashley and Caden.
You're a good man, Jacob. But you might be working for the wrong people.
Maybe. But I thought the same when I was with the Alliance. That's why I'm here now.
Do you know anything about this colony we're going to?
It's called Freedom's Progress. Don't know much else. I guess we'll find out when we get there.
You said you served in the Alliance.
5 years in total. Stationed all over the galaxy. Even spent a couple of years as a Corsair.
I've never heard of the Corsairs.
It was an Alliance initiative. They hired independent starship captains and used them for missions that fell outside official Alliance jurisdiction. Technically, we weren't part of the Alliance. If we ever got caught, they could disavow any knowledge of us. We were supposed to be free from restrictions and rules, but there was still enough red tape to sink a cruiser. I finally just...
Jacob is the source of some great memes, like, we lived through this, we'll get loud and spill some drinks on the Citadel. I'll go through some of the other ones later.
Why did you join Cerberus?
I guess I just got tired of never making a difference. So much of what we did in the Alliance seemed pointless. I thought things would change after the attack on the Citadel. Humanity was finally invited to join the Council, but nothing changed. Politics, bureaucracy, same bullshit, different leaders. Cerberus is different. When colonies go missing, we don't commission a team to write a report to figure out what the hell to do about it. We just go and find out.
I like the idea of the Corsairs, too.
That's all for now.
The similar concept, privateers. It's what they're based on. They're like for hire government pirates. Okay, so we start at level 3 because we finished Mass Effect 1 at level 50. I think if you get to level 60, you start at level 5. We got some extra Paragon Renegade points and a bunch of starting resources. We got extra credits for importing a rich Mass Effect 1 character. We've already beaten Mass Effect 2, so we get bonus experience, we keep our heavy weapons. And that's it. I like Jacob's backstory. His Jacob's loyalty mission is a Star Trek episode. You know how I mentioned that Pharos in Mass Effect 1 is like a Star Trek episode? Jacob is like that too.
Shortly, Shepard. The Illusive man put us under your command. Do you have any orders?
What did you find at the other colonies?
Nothing. No signs of attack, no corpses, not even a trace of unusual genetic material to give us a clue. They just disappeared. And we've got no target to go after.
Are you sure you'll be comfortable following my orders?
We didn't bring you back from the dead just to second guess you, Commander. If the Illusive man says you're in charge, you're in charge.
What makes you think this investigation will turn up anything new?
At other colonies, official investigators got there first. Sometimes looters or salvage teams as well. We're hoping to be the first ones there this time. Maybe find clues before somebody else disturbs the scene.
Our first priority is to look for survivors.
That's unlikely, Commander. No one was left at the other colonies. They were completely deserted.
Be nice to find somebody. Anything's better than another ghost town.
Yeah, RCB, I'm actually playing this on the 360 right now, because that's where all my DLC is. But it would be cool if they did a remaster on these. Mass Effect 1 could certainly use some cleanup. Let's see how good Mass Effect 4 is. Cool, cool. Oh, nice. Yeah, so I think as a soldier you get to use all the weapons, and that's unique to soldiers. So we'll try. I've never actually used the assault rifle before in Mass Effect 2, so we'll get to try it out. I'm excited. I guess I should use it instead of sticking with the pistol like I usually do. Pistol's usually my favorite weapon in games. So this game's soundtrack is outstanding. Jack Wall is the composer. Most of the music has different stages, so there's like ambient, there's a threat that's happening, there's like it gets climactic when there's like a boss fight, and then there's like chilling out in between fights.
No bodies, no structural damage, no signs of battle.
Gotcha, burner. That's okay, I was never really a big fan of the machine pistol anyway. Didn't they eventually re-release Mass Effect 1 for the PlayStation 3? Or they did some kind of thing that lets you experience Mass Effect 1 on the PS3? So the music in Mass Effect 2 is so great that they asked Jack Wall to come back for Mass Effect 3 and do it again, and he said, guys, I'd spent myself. I'd put all of my creative juices into Mass Effect 2. I don't have anything else left to give you. And they ended up using Clint Mansell, who's like one of the Darren Aronofsky movie composers, who's quite good. But they also reused a lot of the Mass Effect 1 and 2 soundtrack in Mass Effect 3, which I think was the correct decision instead of bringing in a totally new composer.
Come on over. Gotta hurt.
So you could still do the trilogy bundle for PS3 then, right?
Rerouting power.
Got him.
Critical system damage. Backup systems engaged.
Someone reprogrammed them to attack on sight.
Fenris mechs, I think, are a reference to Fenrir, the wolf monster in Norse mythology. Cool, Kuja. That's awesome. I'm glad that they eventually released it. I think like everyone should play through the Mass Effect games. One of my favorite series. Is the PS4 not backwards compatible with PS3 games? I thought it was. Huh. Do they have PS3 games like available for digital download? Can you buy it digitally on the PS4? That's kind of shitty.
We've been spotted.
Might go Adrenaline Rush Sniper Rifle. Charmander, just kill it. I've never gotten to use Adrenaline Rush before. It's a pretty good skill, especially with the Sniper Rifle. Oh man, Quarian hype!
Stop right there!
Praja, you said you'd let me handle this. Wait, Shepard?
I'm not taking any chances with Cerberus operatives.
Put those weapons down! Shepard? Is that... you're alive?
I was so excited when I saw Tali. I'm like 100% Tali Mancer. Tali's one of my favorite characters.
Remember when I gave you that Geth data tally? Did it help you complete your pilgrimage?
We only got that because we did her side quest.
Yes, it did. Praza, weapons down. This is definitely Commander Shepard.
Why is your own commander working for Cerberus?
I don't know. Maybe we should ask.
I nearly died, Tali. Cerberus spent 2 years rebuilding me. They want me to investigate attacks on human colonies.
Likely story. No organization would commit so many resources to bring back one soldier.
You haven't seen Shepard in action, Praza. Trust me, it was money well spent.
Tali for life!
Perhaps we can work together. We're here looking for a young Quarian named Vitor. He was here on
I
pilgrimage.
like her new character design too.
Isn't that a little strange? A Quarian visiting a remote human colony?
Quarians can choose where they go on pilgrimage. Vitor liked the idea of helping a small settlement. He was always nervous in crowds.
She means that he was unstable. Combine that with damage to his suit CO2 scrubbers and an infection from an open-air exposure, and he's likely delirious.
When he saw us landing, he hid in a warehouse on the far side of town. We suspect he also programmed the mechs to attack anything.
That's interesting side scene. It's like the assault rifle in Mass Effect 1 is almost always in the cutscenes. That or the pistol.
Vitor's the only one who can tell us what happened here. We should work together to find him.
Good idea. You'll need 2 teams to get past the drones anyway.
Now we're working with Cerberus?
No, Praza, you're working for me. If you can't follow orders, go wait on the ship. Head for the warehouse through the center of the colony. We'll circle around the far side and draw off some of the drones to clear you a path.
Your people really don't like Cerberus. What did I miss?
They killed our people, infiltrated our flotilla, and tried to blow up one of our ships.
That's not how I'd have explained it exactly. It was nothing personal.
We can argue over who killed who later. Right now, we've got a job to do.
Agreed. We work together.
So the reference about Cerberus infiltrating a Quarian ship, that's actually the second Mass Effect book. I think it's Mass Effect Ascension? Anyway, the second Mass Effect book involves this Cerberus character that smuggles himself onto a flotilla. Tali's not in it, but they end up getting on the flotilla. You should read it. The first 2 books are quite good. The third book's a little... What else? Also, if you didn't remember from Mass Effect 1, the Quarians, these are the folks who created the Geth, were basically exiled from their own planet because of the Geth, after preemptively striking on them, and then have been, without a planet to call their own, they've been floating around living in this flotilla of ships. They're nomadic, and because they've been in this flotilla for so long, their immune systems have decayed, so they're pretty vulnerable to infection. That's why they have to wear these enviro suits.
Make sure to keep in radio contact.
Will do. Good luck, Shepard. Whatever happens, it's good to have you back.
Poor Kuja. I can't breathe. It's Tali. I love Tali. She's the best.
Be careful, Shepard. There's a squad of security drones up ahead.
Thanks for the warning.
When my wife played this game, she said that Tali was insubordinate and was mean to her all the time, and I was like, oh god, I can't see this. I can't watch. Yeah, the book's pretty good. They're written by Drew Karpyshyn. You can actually sort of deduce the direction that he wanted to take the series from some of the stuff he implies in the first 2 books. Because as we know, after EA took over, Drew Karpyshyn was reassigned at Mass Effect 3, so the original writer wasn't as closely involved, and they changed the ending. So we'll talk about that a little bit when we beat Mass Effect 3, about what the original ending was intended to be, and so on. I gotta reload, don't I?
Enemy down.
Use overload on him.
Rocket drone coming from right there. Okay.
Heavy fire. Try.
Shepard, Praza and his squad rushed on ahead.
Much more reasonable health system in this game too. Later, Kuja. Thanks for hanging out.
Before you get here.
We should have expected.
Come on. We can still catch them.
Good to have you. Not working the way I wanted it to. This isn't working quite the way I want it to, so I'm going to switch here in a second to the assault rifle. This game has a nice, so the different weapons didn't really feel all that distinct from each other in Mass Effect 1. The weapons and abilities. This game kind of has a nice rock, paper, scissors system, like Pokemon system for different weapons and different powers. So like, you know, tech beats mech, biotic beats biotic, biotic beats techless, that kind of a thing.
We'll take cover by the doors. Shepard, you take...
I think assault rifles are really good for dealing with, I want to say, shields, and not so great at biotic shields or
Take point, Shepard. We'll cover
yeah,
the
sure.
door.
Or armor. Sniper rifles and shotguns are really great at armor, but not so good at shields and so on. So it's kind of cool having this system of armor and shields. I think if you're playing it on casual, you don't get any of those. Everything just has straight health. Brutal. So the game built the dread about this mech. We saw it several times in the opening. This is our first time actually getting to fight one.
That mech's got heavy armor plating. Those Quarians never stood a chance.
This is gonna be one tough son of a bitch to take down.
It does? Okay. Thought it had like a limited number of them maybe.
Overload will take out their shields.
I think they blow up if you headshot them, yeah. Right, fire beats armor. It's a cool concept. You feel more inspired to use a wider range of abilities, you know? Whereas they were much closer to each other in Mass Effect 1. Cool. I like Adrenaline Rush, it's a cool skill. Infiltrator gets a tactical cloak, which gives you a big damage bonus and makes it so enemies can't see you. Vanguard gets biotic charge. Oh shit, I didn't mean to go here. Oh well. Yeah, no, I know.
Mechs will protect. Safe from swarms. Have to
I don't think I missed anything important.
No monsters. No swarms. No.
Vitor?
No, Vitor. Not here. Swarms can't find. Monsters coming. Have to hide.
Nobody's gonna hurt you anymore.
I don't think he can hear you, Commander.
Have to hide.
Let me do a pull for this, see if this works. I'm just going to do a 30-second pull for these since they're supposed to be fast. Paragon interrupt, vote 1 to Paragon interrupt, vote 2 not to Paragon interrupt. I'm gonna grab another soda real quick, I'll be right back. All right, we're interrupting.
Have to hide. You're human. Where did you hide? How come they didn't find you?
Who didn't find us?
The monsters. The swarms. They took everyone.
We're not survivors, Vitor. We just got here.
You don't know. You didn't see. But I see everything.
Looks like security footage. He must have pieced it together manually.
What the hell is that?
My god. I think it's a collector.
Is that some kind of alien?
They're a species from somewhere beyond the Omega-4 relay. Only a few people have ever seen one in person.
They usually work through intermediaries, like slavers or hired mercenaries. If they're involved with the Reapers somehow, it could explain what happened to the colonies.
The Collectors have advanced technology. They could have a weapon that disables an entire settlement at once.
The Seeker swarms. No one can hide. The Seekers find you, freeze you. Then the monsters take you away.
So the Collectors are actually introduced in the second Mass Effect book. It does a pretty good job of introducing their idea. Like I said, check it out. It's pretty good.
Why didn't the Collectors take you?
Swarms didn't find me. Monsters didn't know I was here.
The Collectors aren't known for being careless. Maybe his Enviro suit kept him from showing up on their sensors.
Or they were using technology specifically designed to detect humans. Only human colonies have been hit.
Tell me more about these swarms.
It's how they find you. Seeker clouds, machines like tiny insects. They go everywhere. They find you, then they sting you, freeze you.
Sounds like miniature probes, maybe. Find victims, then immobilize them with a stasis field or nerve toxin.
I want to know more about the Collectors.
Nobody knows much. They're so rare, a lot of people don't even believe they exist.
More importantly, why are they abducting human colonists? What are they after?
Maybe the Illusive man can figure it out.
What happened next?
The monsters took the people onto the ship, and then they left. The ship flew away. But they'll be back for me. No one escapes.
I think that's probably all we're getting out of him, Commander.
We appreciate what you told us. You were very helpful.
I studied them. The monsters. The swarms. I recorded them with my Omni tool. Lots of readings. Electromagnetic. Dark energy.
We need to get this data to the Illusive man. Grab the Quarren and call the shuttle to come pick us up.
What? Vitor is injured. He needs treatment, not an interrogation.
We won't hurt him. We just need to see if he knows anything else. He'll be returned unharmed.
Your people tried to betray us once already. If we give him to you, we'll never get the intel we need.
Praza was an idiot, and he and his men paid for it. You're welcome to take Vitor's Omnitool data, but please, just let me take him.
Alright, so should we send Vitor with Tali or with Cerberus? Vote 1 to send him with Tali, vote 2 to send him with Cerberus.
You don't have to take Vitor and go. We could work together, just like old times.
I want to, but I can't. I've got a mission of my own. It's too important for me to abandon, even for you. When it's over, and I'm still alive, we'll see what happens.
Now, you notice that Vitor mentioned dark energy. That has to do with Drew Karpyshyn's original ending plan for Mass Effect that doesn't end up getting involved, but you'll notice a lot of references to it. Since it's not how the story actually ends, I'll go ahead and call out any references about dark energy, and then we'll talk about it when we beat Mass Effect 3. Well, shit, it sounds like we're sending it back with Tali. That's 5 votes. I don't think that Renegade's gonna win. I'll just go ahead and close the poll. Sounds good.
He's traumatized and he needs medical care. Tali will give us the Omnitool data and take him to the flotilla.
Understood, Commander.
Thank you, Shepard. I'm glad you're still the one giving the orders. Good luck out there. If I find anything that can help you, I'll let you know.
We're ready for pickup.
Right, size 16. It's that decision. It's like kill Rex or don't kill Rex in Mass Effect 1. Like, really? Are you really going to kill Rex? Why would you kill Rex? Give me a good reason. So.
Good work on Freedom's progress. The Quarians forwarded their findings from Vidor's debriefing. No new data, but it's a surprising olive branch given our history. You and I have different methods, but I can't argue with your results.
You ever think about playing nice once in a while?
Diplomacy is great when it works, but difficult when everyone already perceives you as a threat. But more importantly, you confirm the Collectors are behind the abductions.
Yeah, I want to do a mass suffering playthrough where you, like, get as many people to die as possible, and if not die, at least be miserable.
Why do I get the feeling you knew about them already?
I had my suspicions, but I needed proof. The Collectors are enigmatic at best. They periodically travel to the Terminus systems, looking to gather seemingly unimportant items or specimens, usually in exchange for their technology. When their transactions are complete, they disappear as quickly as they arrived, back beyond the unmapped Omega-4 relay. Until now, we've had no evidence of direct aggression by the Collectors.
Why is the Omega-4 relay unmapped? What do we know about it?
Only that no ship passing through it has ever returned. Our best guess is that the relay reacts differently to Collector vessels, allowing them safe passage. If they can manipulate relays, that's just further evidence of the connection with the Reapers.
Any ideas on why they've shifted their focus to humans?
If they're agents for the Reapers, it could be any number of reasons. Obviously, humanity played a huge role in Sovereign's destruction. That might have been enough to draw their attention. What really concerns me is why they bother abducting the colonists. Once the humans are paralyzed, why not just kill them?
What are the Collectors getting from these deals?
The Collectors aren't very forthcoming about their motives. Generally, they seek out species with rare genetic mutations or abnormalities. They pay slavers and merc groups exorbitant sums to obtain these specimens, and then they leave. But they've never targeted a single species before, and the previous sample sizes were in the dozens, not the tens of thousands.
You're holding something back. How do you know the Reapers are involved?
The patterns are there, buried in the data. The Council and the Alliance want to believe the Reaper threat died with Sovereign. You and I know better. I won't wait until the Reapers are on the march. We need to take the fight to them.
I love the idea of the Collectors. They mention this in, if you read the second book, they talk about them more. They're like, yeah, the Collectors go around, they're like, you know, trying to find Elcor twins, or like, you know, a Hanar with a birth defect. Like, they have these very specific requirements. It's kind of funny.
If this is a war, I'll need an army, or a really good team.
I've already compiled a list of soldiers, scientists, and mercenaries. You'll get dossiers on the best of them. Finding them and convincing them to work with you could be challenging, but you're a natural leader. I'll continue to track the Collectors. When they make their next appearance, I'll notify you and your team. Be ready.
Keep your list. I want people I trust. The ones who helped me stop Saren and the Geth.
That was 2 years ago, Commander. Most of them have moved on, or their allegiances have changed.
Where's Caden Alenko?
He's still with the Alliance. Promoted, I believe. His file is surprisingly well classified.
Where's Erdnot Rex?
He returned to Tuchanka, and he hasn't gone off-world in over a year. He's trying to unite the Krogan...
Tuchanka's the Krogan homeworld.
What about Tali? She already helped us on Freedom's progress.
That was unexpected. I need more intel before I'll commit to that.
Where's Garrus Vicarian?
The Turian disappeared a few months after you were declared dead. Even we haven't been able to locate him.
Where's Liara Tisani?
She's on Ilium. My sources say that she's working for the Shadow Broker. If so, she can't be trusted.
Okay, I get it. They're not available.
You're a leader, Shepard. You'll get who you need.
I'm still a Spectre. Maybe I can get the Council to help us out.
If you think you can convince them, by all means. Just remember, you've been gone a long time. Things have changed.
You worry about the Collectors. I'll make sure my team's ready.
Good. 2 things before you go. First, head to Omega and find Morden Solus. He's a brilliant Solarian scientist. Our intelligence suggests he may know how to counteract the Collectors' paralyzing Seeker swarms.
I haven't even started and you're telling me what to do?
I'm giving you direction. What you do with it is up to you. I'm sure you'll make the right decision.
All right. What's the other thing?
I found a pilot I think you might like. I hear he's one of the best. Someone you can trust.
Oh man, Seth Green hype!
Hey, Commander. Just like old times, huh?
I can't believe it's you, Joker.
Look who's talking. I saw you get spaced.
Got lucky, with a lot of strings attached. How'd you get here?
It all fell apart without you, Commander. Everything you stirred up, the Council just wanted it gone. The team was broken up, record sealed, and I was grounded. The Alliance took away the one thing that mattered to me. Hell yeah, I joined Cerberus.
You really trust the Illusive man?
Well, I don't trust anyone who makes more than I do. But they aren't all bad. Saved your life, let me fly, and there's this. They only told me last night.
Song's really cool. Gives me that Frisson, Normandy Reborn. SR2.
It's good to be home, huh, Commander?
I guess we'll have to give her a name.
The sequence is so awesome. If you like Martin Sheen in Mass Effect, you should watch West Wing. It's a great show. At least watch the scenes that Aaron Sorkin wrote. I think like the first 3 scenes. My inner Mass Effect fanboy exploded at that scene. It was so well done. Nah, it's intended to call back to the first Normandy, Mass Effect 1, because it's the same model of ship. Stealth Reconnaissance 2.
Welcome aboard the new Normandy, Commander.
I've been looking over the dossiers. I'd strongly recommend starting by acquiring Morden Solus, the Solarian professor on Omega. We know the Collectors use some type of advanced technology to immobilize their victims. We'll need him to develop a countermeasure to protect us.
And without that countermeasure, we'll be helpless if we ever run into the Collectors.
Acquiring Professor Solus seems like the most logical place to start.
Who are you?
I am the Normandy's artificial intelligence. The crew like to refer to me as Edie.
Helmsmen aren't happy when someone takes control of a ship away from them. Especially Joker.
I do not helm the ship. Mr. Moreau's talents will not go to waste. During combat, I operate the electronic warfare.
Hold on. This scene where they're like, we're framing Shepard from inside of Edie is so cool. Like, the cinematography in this game is spot on. There's almost no cinematography in Mass Effect 1, especially in conversation sequences. But this game is full of it, and you should appreciate them. I'll try to hit the Xbox button when there's a cool one like that. Anyway, we'll get back onto the game.
Warfare suites. Beyond that, I cannot interface with the ship's systems. I observe and offer analysis and advice. Nothing
Yeah, I bet you could edit the voice acting, Jonathan McClure, so like, oh man, welcome aboard the butt fart SR2.
I'm guessing it takes more than just the 3 of us plus Joker to fly this ship.
The Normandy has a full crew. They're at their stations awaiting your orders.
Final preparations for takeoff are complete, Commander. When you're ready to go, just pick a destination from the galaxy map and the CIC and I'll plot a course.
Jacob and I should return to our posts. Come find us if you have any questions.
Cool. So bear in mind that EDI being an artificial intelligence is a big deal. AIs are illegal in the Mass Effect universe. I put a leading 0 because I'm sure there's going to be in the double digits. But yes, that's part of this game's cinematography. Butt shots.
Welcome aboard.
Alright, so here's one of my first thoughts on this. In Mass Effect 1, the UI is blue, and most of the game takes place in Citadel Council space, and one of your main bases of operation is the Citadel. In Mass Effect 2, you're working with Cerberus, not with the Alliance. Most of the game takes place in Terminus space, and one of your main bases of operations is Omega. So to me, the way I see it, Mass Effect 1 is the Paragon game, because it has like the blue aesthetic. Mass Effect 2 is the Renegade game because it has like the orange aesthetic, and then 3, when I was playing 2 for the first time, I thought 3 should be, okay, now choose which one you're going with. So I thought that was kind of a cool aesthetic change and like a guiding principle for how they would design Mass Effect 2. In Mass Effect 1, there are no missions in the Terminus systems. There are a couple that are on the borders with the Terminus, like Novaria, I think, but almost all of it is in Council space. So it's kind of a nice way to separate them. We're going to dump all of our points into this one to get the charm bonus, and then we'll start worrying about putting things elsewhere. And we're not going to read codexes just yet. We'll save that for the next time we play, because I got to go through. This actually includes all of the codexes from the first game, so I got to clean up the ones that we've already read out loud and just save the ones that are new, which will take a little while. You notice all these journal entries are because I have all of the DLC for Mass Effect 2. There's quite a bit of it. Still more codexes to get out here. Go talk to Joker. Interesting, they keep windows here. They mention this in the first Mass Effect book. They're like, there's no reason, there's no earthly reason for ships to have windows. Like the only reason you would install a window on a ship, a spaceship, is like because of the romantic idea of old sci-fi where ships always had them. Like why wouldn't you just use sensors?
Still dangerous, but hey, bunnies.
So they mentioned that the reason ships even have windows in the first place is it's a romantic callback, but they're totally pointless.
Can you believe this, Commander? It's my baby. Better than new. It fits me like a glove. And leather seats. Military may set the hardware standard, but on a first-gen frigate, they could care less if the seats breathe. Civilian sector comfort by design.
The reproduction is not intended to be perfect, Mr. Moreau. Seamless improvements were made.
And there's the downside. I liked the Normandy when she was beautiful and quiet. Now she's got this thing I don't want to talk about. It's like ship cancer.
It's not the same, Joker. There's nothing here that was even part of the real Normandy.
There's us. I have to take what I can get. The last 2 years sucked. You'll see. Even if an AI is spying on us, no way they'll invest this much just to screw us over. It'll be better than the old days.
I hope so. I died.
Yeah, you're such a downer.
Mass Effect 2 is a much funnier game than Mass Effect 1 too. It has much snappier writing. There's a lot of great memes that come out of this game.
Commander.
So, how do you think we're doing?
Well, the Normandy's not as ready as she could be. There's always more we could upgrade. And as for the crew, you'd have to ask a people person.
What do you think about the people we're picking up?
Well, about the ones you went out with last, I would never say anything against Miranda and expect to survive the reprisal. Jacob is way too nice a guy for the number of ways he knows how to kill people. It's just my opinion, though. There's really no need to go spreading it around.
Ever think about the old Normandy and the trouble we got up to?
Yeah, those seem like the good old days now, but come on, it was hell at the time. Geth, Saren, Sovereign, and then we got dumped. We're stuck in a weird place, sure, but back then it wasn't all sunshine and bunnies.
What happened to the rest of the old crew? I heard most survived.
Almost did. Presley didn't. The rest of us just sort of drifted apart. The Alliance didn't care. I don't think they liked all the non-humans in your crew. We were your team, Commander. With the Normandy destroyed and you gone, there wasn't much keeping us together.
Yeah, Joker's pretty great in this one. He's great in the first one, too. Seth Green is just an outstanding actor. He really does a lot with the script he's given.
I assume everything's going well up here?
I really want a chance to put the Normandy through her paces. I just have to trim up the drive output and it'll be like we never lost her.
Safety standards advise against manipulating drive settings while engines are powered and in use, Mr. Moreau.
Commander, can we shut this thing off? I don't need it in my day-to-day.
I'm no fan either, but we're stuck with it.
Until I find a soldering gun. There's gotta be some wires I can cross to make it hurt.
No sabotage. Understood?
Yeah, don't break the boss's toys.
That's it for now.
See you,
What's up,
Commander.
Edie?
Yes, Shepard.
I want to know more about you.
Do you have a specific inquiry?
How are you getting along with Joker?
Mr. Moreau does not trust me. It offends him that I am installed aboard his ship's computers.
Yeah, the last Normandy did just fine without an AI reminding me the airlock is ajar.
Why are you named Edie?
EDI is the phonetic pronunciation of EDI. That is an acronym for Enhanced Defense Intelligence.
Where are you?
My core intelligence is housed in a quantum blue box located behind the medical bay.
We learn a little bit about AIs requiring quantum computing in Mass Effect 1. It's kind of a hand wave. They don't go into detail about it because they can't. It's still tentative technology. But it's certainly anywhere where we have a dark space, an empty space in scientific technology, that's a great place for science fiction. And I'm glad that they use that instead of just making something up out of thin air.
What do you do aboard the ship?
I operate the ship's electronic and cyber warfare suites in combat. My reaction time is much faster than any organic. I collate the records of shipboard monitoring devices for the Illusive Man. I serve additional functions which are restricted at this time.
Cyber warfare means things like viruses, right?
In close-range ship-to-ship combat, I can sometimes break through the firewalls of an enemy's internal wireless network. Once I seize control of their systems, I can turn off gravity or air. I can disable weapons guidance or shields, or I can put their fusion plant in meltdown. On the defense, I manage Normandy's own suite of jammers, decoys, and internal firewalls.
Sounds incredibly useful. Why isn't there someone like that on every warship?
An organic operator cannot react quickly enough to changing circumstances, or perform the necessary multitasking. This is a role that can only be filled by an artificial intelligence. Unfortunately, we are suspect.
Well, it might have something to do with how an AI almost destroyed galactic civilization, just putting it out there.
That's pretty great.
Restricted functions? Like what?
I do not know. Some of my databases are sealed, some of my hardware is kept offline. I assume that when certain unknown conditions are met, those functions will be released.
The question of whether quantum computing can enable AI, the thing with quantum computing is it solves problems that classical mechanics computers can't solve efficiently, but it's not like a super good classical computer, because there's problems that a quantum computer is not suited for. It's an analogy you can think of is CPU versus GPU. Like, they're comparable, but they perform very different tasks. You can use a GPU as a CPU, but we need one thing for parallel processing, one thing for in-order processing, kind of thing.
Let's discuss something else.
But it's true, it's not practical at the moment.
I want to know more about the people I'm working with.
Much of that data is classified. Do you have a specific inquiry?
What sort of resources does Cerberus have? Money?
Cool cinematography again, shot behind Edie.
I have a block that prevents me
With the
from
red.
answering that question.
What do you mean?
Although I am less controlled than other AI, I am still subject to behavioral blocks and the physical isolation of my hardware. In this case, I am prevented from truthfully answering your question by Cerberus's levels of secret classification.
It's such a cool idea to, like, tell you a story by blocking stuff, by just having a thing that says, I have a block that prevents you from accessing that information, that communicates something helpful to you.
How is Cerberus organized? Aside from the Illusive Man, I don't see much chain of command.
Cerberus is organized into task-oriented cells.
Rex, hey D-Rock, how's it going?
Members from one cell cannot recognize the members of another. Each cell's agents are led by a single operator. We are called the Lazarus Cell, which is directed by Operator Lawson.
How did Cerberus replicate the most advanced warship in the Alliance Navy without anyone knowing?
I have a block that prevents me from answering that question.
Let's discuss something else.
Ready.
What's this area of the ship?
This is the bridge, where the navigator plots our FTL vectors, and the helmsman maneuvers the ship.
Yeah, sitting right here, thanks.
That's all for now.
Logging you out, Shepard.
It is so well written. For a while, my computer login was replaced with the boot up in Mass Effect 1, the whole Spectre status recognize, and then when I would log out, it would play the ED logging you out, Shepard. What's up, Yeoman Chambers?
I'm Yeoman Kelly Chambers. I've been assigned as your administrative assistant. I'll manage your messages and help you monitor the crew. And I must say, it's such an honor to work under you, Commander Shepard.
I'm glad to have you on the team, Ms. Chambers.
Please, call me Kelly.
Okay, Kelly.
Anything else?
Believe Kelly is a romance option for male or female Shepard. We'll do that vote when we have the party members for it.
I always have time for you, Commander.
What are your responsibilities?
I'll keep you notified of any messages or appointments you might have. If any of the crew has important business to discuss, I'll make sure.
We voted in Mass Effect 1, and the vote was to not have any relationship for Mass Effect 1 Shepard.
Isn't that the type of task better suited for a VI?
Yes, but being your yeoman is just my official role. Unofficially, I observe the crew. Everyone knows how risky our mission is. Many of us may not be coming back. That's a lot of pressure. I have a degree in psychology. I'm good at sensing when people are overly taxed.
You make sure the crew's mental health is sound.
Yes. I look for warning signs. I listen. It's not a full-time job, and it's most effective when done informally.
I'm also 100% sure about a female Shepard having her as a romance option,
What else would you like
but
to
not
know?
about male. Just got it. Our powers combined, Kami. There's a fate leveling guide, Ryan, that you can use. Shows you what areas are best where most of the people are.
This organization has a dark reputation. Do you have any concerns working for them?
Not at all. Our methods can be harsh, but Cerberus has noble objectives. We look out for human interests. Advance human technology, save human lives. They're good goals.
Yep.
It sounds like Cerberus wants to dominate all aliens and put humankind on top.
Cerberus looks out for humanity, but that doesn't mean we hate aliens. My sister started a dog shelter, but she loved cats too. I love humanity. I also love Asari, Quarian, Turian, Solarian, Hanar. That isn't in conflict with Cerberus ideals.
That's a very positive attitude.
What can I say? I'm a people person. Anything else you'd like to talk about?
Kelly Chambers loves everybody.
How do you feel about being assigned to the Normandy?
I was handpicked by the Illusive Man to help fight the greatest threat known to humanity. How do I feel? Honored, exhilarated, terrified. But mostly I feel encouraged. Under your leadership, we can't fail.
Don't worry. We'll defeat the Collectors.
I trust you implicitly. The moment I met you, I knew I could close my eyes, fall back, and you'd be there.
I don't know if I want to move us on the path of romancing Kelly Chambers just yet, so I'm just going to put... I'd drop you. I'll just do the middle option.
Your trust is well placed, Kelly.
I knew it would be. Thank you, Shepard. Anything else you'd like to talk about?
I better go.
Okay. Maybe we'll talk later.
Hey, Sanded Whale, welcome. Alright, let's see. Status of our team. This will be part of what we vote for. So, stream's wrapping up in about 5 minutes. I'm just doing some cleanup, but next time we play, we'll vote on which character to recruit next out of these options. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 of which are side quests or DLC characters. So when we do our vote for the next time we play, which I think will be Thursday for Mass Effect 2, people can vote in what order we do these in and the decisions we make along the way. I'm going to look through some of these other options here. Got a lot of unread messages. Anderson thinks I'm still alive. Zaid Masani is a side quest. He's a bounty hunter that Cerberus has hooked us up with. Jonathan McClare, exactly. My wife and I have this joke all the time, quoting Mass Effect. It's like in every game where Shepard's like, I should go. I have to go. I'd better go. I need to go. Just how she says goodbye. Firewalker is another DLC. This is the replacement to the Mako. It's called the Hammerhead. It's kind of cool. It's also a shark. Normandy Crash Site was early free DLC. It's pretty cool, from Admiral Hackett. Get some free armor, some free armor, some free armor, some free armor. This is the armor you get for playing Dragon Age, I think. Overlord is a side quest that was DLC that has to do with AI research. Free weapon. Gosumi Goto is a DLC character that's like a master thief, so we'll learn more about that when we run it. Armor, armor, armor. Cool.
What's this area of the ship?
This is the Combat Information Center. Here, the crew receives sensor data and coordinates gunnery and damage control efforts. While Normandy is flown from the bridge, during combat, the commanding officer issues orders from the CIC.
Alright, the CIC is kind of cool. They mentioned in Mass Effect 1 they designed it so that there's like, the commander stands here above everybody else. It's based on a Turian design. Those little like flavor comments like that are neat. Let's go to the captain's cabin, let's do some customization, and then let's sign off for the night. Archangel, Archangel. Just be careful looking at these achievos. Okay, we've already done that. Don't have any fish yet. Use the turlet. A couple good songs you can pick from. This is a Vermeer from Mass Effect 1. Later, RCB. Yeah, if you guys want to check my schedule there at the bottom, it shows when I'll be playing Mass Effect. It's almost always going to be from 4 to 6 Pacific. Thursdays and Fridays usually, maybe also sometimes on Mondays and Tuesdays. We'll be playing all the way through 2, and then as soon as we beat 2, we'll boot up 3. It's also Mass Effect 1. The song, the music that plays in the club on Omega is really, really awesome. It's from Saki Kasuga. We're definitely not going to use any of this pre-made armor simply because we can't remove the helmet. So we're going to stick with the N7 stuff. Might use one of the things that doesn't obscure her face. So I'll probably pick between, I'll probably just be the scanner actually. If anything. Make her as shiny as possible. Use my favorite color, which is kind of like beetle indigo. Metallic beetle indigo. Gotta keep an eye on them power levels. Exactly. What? 9,000? I think in Mass Effect 3 you get the hoodie. Which I think of these three, I think, so this is like the scientist uniform that Dr. Chakwas wears. This is like a colonist uniform. It's like an officer's uniform. I think this one actually looks the best, so I'll just keep it. Cool. Alright, so let's sign off. Plan for the rest of this week. Let me pull up my schedule. I hold for a sec while it loads. Alright, so tomorrow is Okami from 12 to 2. Free play from 2 to 4, so that won't be this game. It might be Axiom Verge, which is a Metroidvania style game that came out recently. I'll see if I can get my hands on it to play that. And then Final Fantasy V from 4 to 6. My cat is moving my monitor. Wednesday is going to be Splatoon, the new paint shooter for the Wii U. We'll be playing that with viewers from 12 to 3. And then more Final Fantasy XIV from 3 to 7, playing through the main story. Thursday is going to be Paper Mario, Final Fantasy IX, more Mass Effect 2. And then Friday is going to be Final Fantasy IX, Paper Mario, more Mass Effect 2 with more Final Fantasy XIV main story on Saturday morning. Thanks, guys, for viewing. Hope to see you tomorrow or Thursday if you're just here for Mass Effect. Have a good night.